There is a snake-shaped body of water which flows across 215 miles, the longest in the United Kingdom. It's been flowing for centuries. It has witnessed and been part of the history of the country. It has, for centuries, held on secret. Its name, Thames. And in the spring of 1898, Thames started giving off a very dark, macabre secret which it could no longer keep.
Hi friends!
And fiends.
Welcome back to our podcast.
The Poet Wins podcast.
This is your host Martha.
And this is your co-host Jo.
And we would like to welcome you to today's episode. But first of all, we would like to tell you a couple of things before we begin, because this one is a bit graphic and more sensitive. There will be graphic descriptions
of
the cases we are talking about.
Injuries. Yes. So viewer and
listener discretion is advised. And we would also like to tell you that we will be using some words differently.
Safe words, let's say.
Yes, in order to make it through this episode, so you can all be able to enjoy it.
And make it a little bit, let's say, more palatable.
Yes.
So also, we wanted to point out that we will be talking about two specific unsolved cases in this episode. We wanted to include a third one, but
yes.
First of all, this video would be 3 hours long, and I don't think that you would want that. So we decided to include the third case that we thought of initially including in this episode in a separate one. Dedicated episode, because it's a newer an extremely serious case, so we would like to pay all the attention to detail with the utmost respect, of course, as in any case, as in these two cases.
That's what I was going to say.
Exactly. So you can be expecting that next week,
and hopefully we will see you returning.
Please come back.
Yes. So
right. So,
yes, let's get into today's episode and theme. We will be talking about unsolved cases.
Unsolved cases. Actually, we will be talking about two
very well known.
Exactly. Cases, one from the UK and one from the USA. Yes.
And they have
both from
both
two previous centuries, actually.
And they have both been one of public attention. So yes, we thought of talking. Yes, two. Excuse me.
No, it's fine.
Yes. So Joe will be going first, or not?
Yes.
Would you like, since you made that very nice intro?
Yes. I was nervous. I'm very sorry.
No.
Yes. So we are going to discuss these two cases chronologically. So yes. Let's begin by the again safe word. The Thames Torso red drums, notorious case. So,
and surprisingly, one that I have not heard of, or maybe I haven't. I don't know it yet.
Well, it's really well known in the UK, obviously because it's part of the history, but because these victims were unfortunate enough not only to be victims of monster, but also be, let's put it this way, less known victims in the exact same time, where there have been other unfortunately very infamous victims. So
yes, I understand.
You will understand exactly
what
I mean if you are not already familiar with this case. So without further ado,
let's begin.
So the events of this case started taking place in the city of London in the spring of 1898, just before the infamous Jack the Ripper began his despicable spree. Exactly. And this is exactly why these unfortunate victims do not get the proper, not respect, but recognition from the public. And unfortunately, as mentioned in the title, as mentioned just before, this is another unsolved case.
Yes.
So, a serial offender terrorized the city and spread fear amongst the people, especially amongst women. An offender who would remove the limbs and the heads of his victims, who were all female, and then, in a horrendous fashion, would dispose of the torsos in the River Thames. So,
hence the name.
Exactly. So, police initially thought that medical students were actually playing a very distasteful prank. However, at that time, and if you are familiar with the history of the UK in this period, there was a, let's say, shortage of bodies available for anatomical studying. So hence
I have heard of that in history documentaries.
Exactly. So hence the body snatching epidemic, may we say. We can talk about that in another episode if you're interested. Yes. So this is not possible. I do not think that any medical students would actually, let's say, you know, pardon my words, I do not know what else to use, but waste bodies, you know, to play prank.
It's something disrespectful.
Absolutely. And everything about this case and Jack the Ripper and the next case that we are talking about is completely disrespectful. Everything. Of course. Okay, so yeah, we do not think historians at the time, and even today, modern historians, we do not think, like nobody thinks that the culprit was actually a medical student. Nobody actually believes that. So, I mean, in the form of a prank. So the case became obviously very famous very quickly. It made front page news, it made tabloids, and as it is common in such cases, you know, the killer got arrogant. And
people got terrified, I can imagine.
But this is exactly why they got, I say they, but most probably, it must have been a male offender. So if I refer to the offender as a he, I'm very sorry, but we think that he probably was
higher of him being a male offender.
So you know, in such cases, when police have no leads and they have nowhere to start from, they have absolutely no clue who could actually be the offender. They get arrogant. They get really arrogant. And this one got too. So much so, actually, that they sent the torso almost straight to the Scotland Yard. You know, in order to taunt and humiliate the police and actually rub in the face that he was much more cunning than they were. So,
unfortunately, it is something that we witness in many cases throughout the years and decades, even centuries. Yes, it's like you said, taunting towards the authorities, and we have to keep in mind that during those times they didn't have the means and
this is,
you know, the equipment they have today, so they could easily arrest you know, a suspect or even get straight to the person responsible for those atrocities.
That's actually one of the things that you know, I would like to comment on at the end when you know, we talk about this case, because I think that in both, when it comes to this case and obviously the infamous Jack the Ripper, you know, exactly this lack of forensic evidence, actually no, the lack of being able to analyze this forensic evidence at the time
that was collected and
exactly it
examined many
boarded
years
the killers, because they said, oh, you know, I'm like a god.
Yes.
I believe that's what they thought. You know, nobody can, I mean, fingerprint analysis, DNA analysis, it was not available at the time.
no
these
surveillance
people-
cameras,
No.
no electronic devices of any
Just
kind
exactly
able to capture.
and police obviously had to go they had to collect information from what the what people saw or heard, and it's a commonly known fact that memory can actually change, or our brain is very it's a very weird and amazing thing, but it can actually create fake memories and make them
Yes.
feel completely true.
That's why some witnesses are not considered to be credible. Not
No.
because they are trying, to be,
to lie
disrespectful
or to, no.
unreliable. However, because of what you just said, our brain
Exactly.
sometimes it can create fake memories, and we are confused.
and make them feel
Yes, like-
extremely true. Like
Yes, that's why some
Yeah.
witnesses, I have seen videos online, some witnesses are convinced that they saw what they thought they saw.
yeah, exactly. So imagine
It was not the
if
case.
it was the main thing that people like police, for example, investigators, coroners, they had to go, they had to walk with. It must not have been easy. So
No.
we cannot really blame them. Okay.
And of course, you have to take into consideration every testimony.
Okay, so London, in 1888, Victorian era. Okay, it was a huge. I think actually the biggest metropolis of Europe at that time. It was huge. It was
Yes.
filled with people to the brim. People of all kinds and walks of life, and of
And
course,
the conditions
unfortunately,
of life were
exactly,
different and
many
not
of these
easy.
people were poor. Unfortunately, yeah. So, and as always, unfortunately, tragically, the poor have been the easiest targets because, easiest.
It's a sad truth.
Easier access. I think it's tragic. It's absolutely
Yes.
tragic, but it's true. Same as in the Jack the Ripper case. Okay.
Yes.
So, let's begin with the timeline. In May 1888, a bargeman was looking in the river, and he was actually looking to see if the river would bring anything nice or valuable.
Of value.
Yes,
Yes,
as he
I
has
thought so.
done many a time before. So, while he was actually looking in the river, he noticed a canvas bag floating. And then when he practically fished out the canvas bag, the poor man was mortified when
Of
he
the discovery.
when he opened the canvas bag. He was mortified to come face to face with the decomposing torso of what used to be a human being. Imagine that. Shock. Shocking.
That's a memory you cannot erase.
Absolutely not. Okay, so this happened actually in Rainham, in Eastern London. So again, when he opened the bag, he figured out that it was a torso, nothing else. Thank you. All the victims in this case have been female. And, if we want to make a social commentary, based on this, about this specific time, we can point out to the misogyny of the time, okay? Everybody, unfortunately, every poor person, especially women,
Yes.
they were so... especially poor women, especially women who might have fallen to the need of working at night,
ladies
to
of the
find
night.
money for their lodgings or for food, or
For
unfortunately,
the children.
or unfortunately
support
for
themselves.
their addiction, because
Yes.
as in Jack the Ripper's
Yes,
case,
that's-
that was unfortunately something very prominent. People, and especially women, they were being completely objectified and almost dehumanized, especially poor women. So Yeah.
That's another sad truth of that period.
Absolutely. So some parts of the body, when it comes to these guys, have not only been found in the river, but they have actually, some of them have been found, and we're going to elaborate a little bit later on that. But they have been found in mainland London as well. So when it comes to the river, okay, so unfortunately Thames has been used as a, let's say, dumping ground of things, of shorts.
Thames, yes.
Yeah, many times before. And obviously this offender thought, or at least hoped, that the water and the changing tides, they would either, dispose completely, or at least hide the bodies, aka the evidence of his heinous crimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why they did it. Absolutely.
Yes,
Okay, and so
it's been done even today.
Yeah.
You hear of those cases where they drop the
and in the US,
yes, there are
or
drum
was it
weapon
Canada,
or something like that.
where they were finding severed, legs or something. Was that the US or Canada? Like repeatedly, they were finding again and again
Yes,
severed legs. If you know what I'm talking about.
I don't remember. I cannot recall, but it's probably from Canada. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
So, here we have been talking about that. But here, we have to make the obvious. We have to, mention the obvious. There was an obvious connection between this case and the one of Jack the Ripper.
And I was going to ask you if a possible connection.
I mean, yeah. Same place, same date, almost not identical, but pretty similar MO. We're going to discuss about that too in a minute.
Yes.
So there are both similarities and also differences between the two cases. Okay, for example, the monster we all know as Jack the Ripper was active from the summer and all the way up to November of 1888, while this one's first victim was discovered in the spring of 1898. So this one is actually, this one predates the canonical 5 of Jack the Ripper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
so maybe he was experimenting. Exactly. If it was the same person.
Some people have speculated that maybe, this was, he's, as you said, like experiments to see what he...
And find his, like you said, his MO.
What makes him...
Yes.
I don't know how to
the
put
monster
it. Yeah, exactly,
that
because
he was.
Definitely. But, actually, I do not think that, the offenders were actually the same person, because these two cases, and you will see in a bit, they overlap. And the MO remains different. So,
Maybe that was another trick of confusing the authorities.
Do you really think that
it could be
Jack the Ripper was
you can never know.
So clever? Or are we giving him too much credit?
I don't know, but you never know with those people.
Yeah, they know no limits. That's true.
Yes, because if you're about to take a life, you're probably capable of
exactly
many other.
You obviously have no limits, or you have no respect for them anyway.
Yes, exactly. No respect for the human life whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
And for, as a consequence, other things. So.
Yeah. Something is
okay.
Let's be honest. Okay, let's just stop beating around the bush. Something is wrong with these people.
Yes,
with the way that their mind, is wired or something.
Yes,
like literally, in some cases, you can ask profilers. Anyway, so so in both cases, police investigators, coroners, journalists, and the general public had speculated that some form of medical and or anatomical knowledge was either involved or at least needed in order.
That's why in the beginning it was believed to be a prank from medical students.
But who?
Yes, of course. We're
talking about black humor, but who would do something like that and say, oh, it's funny? They should be locked up. Anyway. Yeah. So it was speculated for this specific case that the offender had either been a surgeon or a butcher. Because for this kind of, how can I?
Just like in Jack the Ripper case again.
Yeah, but
another similarity.
How can I say this word? The removal of limbs. Okay, in order for this thing to occur, specific tools might have been either used or at least available to him. So again, either someone, a profession, who would be tools that could either be potentially used on a human body for, surgical reasons or on animals. Poor things.
Yeah,
anyway.
Someone who knows the anatomy of the human body.
Exactly.
Or
where to
animals,
know,
like you say.
Where to find what, or
and how to remove
exactly
it.
what cartilage is and where certain things can be removed.
I understand
from and
what
stuff
you're
like
talking
that.
about.
It's not easy. People study for that for years. Anyway, so in contrast though to the Jack the Ripper case, most of the bodies in this case have remained unidentified, unfortunately.
Unidentified.
Yes, unidentified. There is only one body which is potentially, I think that people agree that, the identity that has been given to this body is the correct one. So there is only one body, victim of this case, who has been identified.
I can imagine, because again, how could you? Without all,
but exactly,
all the tools available
I'm talking about this
the equipment
bit,
of today.
Yeah, so the coroners.
How could you? Not even with the teeth,
No.
Some people are identifying by their teeth even today.
And especially, at that age, at that time.
Yes.
I believe.
How could you?
No, I believe that only
by the face.
The rich people could be identified because they were practically the only ones that could pay for, let's say, especially made dentures or stuff like that, because it was extremely expensive. And
or accessories they had with them,
and at that time,
a watch or something like that.
No, but when you said, when it comes to the teeth.
The teeth. Okay, yes.
They did not have specific dentists. For example, if somebody, a rich person, actually needed dentures, they had to physically go to a jeweler to actually have them made. They were not done by a dentist because it was very specific, delicate work.
Yes.
So imagine how much money one must have had to pay a jeweler at that time. So no. And besides, no heads.
I thought so.
Yeah.
That was one of the contributing factors of not being able to identify the victims.
What I was just going to say.
Yes.
That the coroners would not, and possibly because they could not themselves figure out how these people had actually passed away. Because there were, other than the obvious, lacerations and, wounds.
Other wounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was no other indication. If, let's say, somebody, before they disrespected the bodies in this manner, if they had, let's say, taken the life of these victims by keeping them from breathing.
Yes, exactly.
Or something like that. Or had them, how can I put it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. But nobody could see that if the actual cause of the unaliving was not on the torso.
Yes.
How could somebody, even the coroners, how could they know?
That's why they have been getting away with so many red
of
drums
course.
In the past. During those times, even in the 70s or 80s.
Exactly.
But now we have the DNA analysis.
These cases, but these cases, for example, this one and the Jack the Ripper one, and then especially the one that you are going to talk to us about today, they irk me and they make me so angry because, especially these two, as we said, there were many, things that were not available, many procedures that were not available at the time. So you know, to some extent, you can understand why they got away with it. But when it comes to the next one, okay. it makes me really angry.
Oh.
The next case, the one you're talking about, it makes me really
Another
angry.
sad one, of course.
Extremely sad.
They all are.
Okay, so now on the 11th of September 1888, so you know, the timeline. So keep in mind, this is, you know, the two cases actually overlap. So keep in mind, but by that time, September of 1888, Jack the Ripper was already on victim number 4, aka Annie Chapman. So at the shore of Thames in Pimlico, there was a severed arm that was found.
Arm?
Yeah, not a torso, an armed.
So
an arm. Yeah. So the next month in October, another torso was found in the embankment at Westminster, which was actually almost exactly next to the headquarters of Scotland Yard. This is where, you know, the defender got extremely bored and arrogant. And they tend to do that. So there was another torso found. So it was later determined that this torso, the one found in October, so practically the second torso, the second victim, so it was determined that this second torso belonged to the seven armed that was found in September.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So they made a connection there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it was the same
But still,
victim.
they could not identify who the person was.
But they could identify that it was the same body. Yeah. So
That's so sad.
And, you know, these obviously, once again, led to media frenzy, because imagine being, you know, trying to live your life, trying to, you know, have your
Go
money,
about your day and
pay your bills,
your
all your lodgings,
activities.
find some bread to feed your family, and then you see that this crazy monster that is, you know, unaliving people left, right, and center. They do not only, you know, they start being border, and instead of only in quotations, of course, using, you know, like throwing away torsos, they're starting to throw away like pieces by pieces of the same body, like, you know,
there is a certain level of
craziness.
Yes. And of fear going on among the citizens. I can only imagine.
Of course. Absolutely. I would not walk alone.
No.
Nowhere. Especially as a woman.
Yes, exactly. Imagine having your kids with you and having to go to the grocery store and not being able to. Just being in fear of losing your life.
So, you know, actually, for some reason, I don't know exactly what, but, you know, after this realization that the second torso belonged to the severed arm, that's when the connections to the Jack the Ripper case began circulating, being made. And so, as you know, as mentioned before, there are both similarities and differences between the two cases. For example, as we mentioned before, the MO of the killers is different. Although the victims in both cases are all females and have been disrespected, how can I?
Yes.
I have to be careful. The way this actually happened was different. For example, in Jack the Ripper case, it was not only the physical injuries that were inflicted, as for example in this case the removal of body parts and stuff. In the Jack the Ripper case, it was even more animalistic, because the internal organs have been removed, some stolen, you know, left scattered. It was completely animalistic. Not that this one was not, but it was less, let's say, bloody.
And now that you're saying this, it's it's making me realize it's very similar to the case that I will be talking about in a while.
Exactly. That's why I suggested we use this specific
case.
in the same video. Okay, so a very interesting fact about this specific case, I mean, interesting to me, is the fact that, they used this investigator. I think he was an investigator, but it was practically the case that started a complete, department of law and psychology.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. That's an interesting fact indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
So Thomas Bond, who is credited as being the first ever criminal profiler.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of him now that you mentioned.
Started working on the psychological profile of this offender. Yeah. So some things that he pointed out about this offender, are the following. So he said that the guy, I'm very sorry. I'm being very careful with my words.
Yes, careful. So you can all listen to this or watch this episode.
Thomas Bond actually agreed with the general public and the investigators and the coroners that this offender could possibly have could possibly be a medical student because of the anatomical knowledge. It's not only the way that he inflicted the injuries. It's, as we said, like where something is,
the knowledge,
where should he cut
of human anatomy.
Exactly.
Yes.
So he said that he could possibly be someone with this kind of knowledge.
Also, he delivered the profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are some of the things that he pointed out about when it comes to the profile of the offender. And then he said something very, very interesting and completely true. What he said, he not speculated. He actually said that the offender practically dehumanized the victims as he removed the parts that at the time could identify the victims. For example, the heads, the faces, the clothes. That could potentially give the world some signs of who these women were, or let's say the social class. Because, depending on what they were wearing, people, it was very obvious. For example, your status at that time. And again, ignore the clothes and everything. The faces.
Sadly enough, that's another... that's a similarity in the case we will be talking about next week.
I know. But
yes,
at least
I cannot understand
this
why.
victim, the one in the case that you're talking to us about, at least she had the face and everything. She could be identified. These poor women, they had nothing, like completely dehumanized.
Yes.
Just like.
And again, different, no fingerprints or
nothing.
Teeth or
so again
DNA
with the timeline, on the 4th of June 1888, a new torso was found, and this one is horrendous because the poor woman, please, I'm giving a heads up, that's very, if you can skip a little bit, if you're sensitive,
please do so.
But this poor woman's actually 8 months pregnant. Monster. We're talking about a monster, but seriously.
Again, another similarity with Jack the Ripper. I think there was a victim who was pregnant, if I'm not mistaken. Thought to be pregnant,
but I don't think that
but they couldn't actually confirm it because it was in the early stages, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong.
That's something that they speculate. We do not know that if that's.
We don't know it for sure.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, but this is thankfully the only body that has been identified. And this lady, the name of this victim, and we say that with all the respect, or the utmost respect. The name of this victim is Elizabeth Jackson. So at the time, she was described as a lady of the night, but we do not know if this is true, because again there was some prejudice towards poor women.
Yes.
And unfortunately, some women had to do that again in order to find money to pay the lodgings or the food, or again for their
support
addictions.
themselves or their families.
Tragic.
Yes,
Everything
absolutely
tragic.
yes.
And unfortunately, and sometimes, and my mind cannot accept this. But people are mean, people are narrow-minded. But even today, so imagine back then, there is this prejudice against, women who
working
work
in the specific industry.
Yeah,
yes.
and they are seen as just like, disposable.
That's
and
why they are considered
this drives me
high
so
risk
angry.
victims.
Yeah,
They are considered high
absolutely.
risk victims.
And
so
as you
it's
can
one
see,
of the
this is
reasons
something
why.
that has happened, has been happening for centuries.
For centuries, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Anyway.
Yes, there should be no discrimination
No.
when someone loses their life under tragic circumstances.
Yeah. So, at the end of 1889, so a year later, a new torso was found. Although
Okay,
after,
so he was still active.
well, actually, after Elizabeth Jackson, the pregnant lady, there was a pause. And again, 1889 is again after Jack the Ripper stopped being active. He had already stopped
Okay.
his spree too.
Okay, so
a new
they
torso
coincide.
pops up
Okay.
almost a year later, okay? Because actually more than a year later. Was it? Yeah, more than a year later because
This offender.
yeah,
Or Jack the Ripper.
both.
Both. Okay.
Because Jack the Ripper, Jack the Ripper's last victim was found on November of 1888, and this one, which was the last victim, Elizabeth Jackson, which was the last victim of the torso offender, was found in June. So yeah, at the end of 1889 is more than a year later.
Yes.
So more than a year, or around a year after the last Jack the Ripper victim was found. So imagine, okay?
Yes, but then did
People have, said, okay, the monster is dead, or behind bars, or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. So
they started
things,
being
have
afraid
become
again.
back to normal. Yes. And then at the end of 1889, I thought that I would not confuse the digits, but I did it again. So a new torso was found in Whitechapel.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but
Maybe he wanted to take some of Jack the Ripper's glory.
Exactly. Or maybe he wanted to confuse
Or notoriety.
Yeah. Infamy.
Yes.
So yeah, as we mentioned, by that time, Jack the Ripper had stopped taking lives. And as you can imagine, the people of Whitechapel panicked again. Imagine, as we just mentioned, there's been a year and things have calmed down, you're going back to your normal rhythms of life, your routine, and then boom, again.
I cannot blame them.
No. And
I would be terrified.
I would be terrified.
I mean,
yeah, so the MO was the same as the torso offender when it comes to this later, the latest.
Whitechapel.
Yeah, the Whitechapel torso.
Okay.
So it was the same as the torso offender. So, just the torso found. But there was extra disrespect of the body, which was more similar to the Jack the Ripper MO. So if you can imagine what I'm talking about. There was some extra removal.
Yes.
Yeah. So
of body parts, yes.
To conclude this this case.
And that was the last one.
Yeah.
So he stopped.
After that, nothing. No more torso. Well, I mean, okay. Look, listen. Unfortunately, time has been used, as I mentioned in the introduction, many times. It has seen and carried many secrets, but and it was not the same, time that bodies or body parts were actually found floating in Thames, because I mean there have been battles, there have been sinkings and stuff like that. So obviously, I mean, it's only natural, especially at that time, that you would find something like that in the river. But the thing is that this was the first time that there were something specific, popping out, like something specific, specifically torsos. That's not a coincidence, right?
No, of course not. But
Yeah.
no one knows who he was.
So it remains
He
unsolved.
was never been caught.
No, the offender has never been identified. There were no suspects either than the obvious connection to Jack the Ripper, who we still do not know who it was.
Yes.
So yeah, and we have no idea who he was, why, or for how long he has been doing this for.
That was a tragic case. I was not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for educating me on this
welcome.
one. Yes, and
By the
we
way,
are so sorry for
by the way,
victims, all of the
absolutely,
victims.
and I am so sorry if I did not sound as coherent as I normally do, but this is the first time that we're actually talking about
something
something this serious.
Exactly.
And I'm actually very nervous because I want to present everything respectfully.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So I
Same
apologize if it sounded a bit chaotic. Believe me, my notes, they were really well written, but yeah.
Let's see how I do.
So, by the way, we would like to, take a small break
Yes.
between the cases just to lighten up a little bit before we get really started again.
Yes.
But yeah, we would like to thank all of you who came and watched our video, last week's video.
Yes.
Yeah, you actually, liked it more than we thought.
Yes, and
we're really
happy.
happy.
Yes.
Really happy for that, because we really enjoyed it as well. So
Yes, but we're happy you appreciated it.
Yes.
So thank you so much, and thank you for coming back.
Yes.
To the returning viewers and
if you are
listeners.
new here, or if you like what we do, please do consider subscribing and
following,
liking, commenting, sharing, because we really don't want to ask for these kind of things, but it's something that the algorithm likes. It's something that the algorithm takes as a sign that the videos are nice, so
and that we are not boring.
No. And it takes it as a sign, and it can show the videos to more people. So
yes,
thank you very much in
thank
advance.
you for your help.
Thank you, even if you don't do it, but you just stop by.
Yes, and you listen.
You're more than
to
welcome
us.
to come back.
Yes, of course. So let's
back to the seriousness.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's talk
Very
about
well-known
the case that I would like to talk about today, and this one sure most of you are familiar with. It is the Black Dahlia. There have been books and movies, series, documentaries throughout the years of this case.
Some not so realistic or accurate depictions.
Yes, but probably you've heard of this one.
Who hasn't, I think.
Yes.
Even just the name
that
was given to this poor woman, because if I'm not mistaken, this nickname was actually given to her by
the reporters.
yeah,
I will
journalists,
mention it.
yeah.
Yes, I will mention
But
it.
you hear this nickname, and
It's something they used to do back in the day.
oh, yeah. Exactly like the previous case.
Yes, and another one that I have in mind. Maybe we will talk about it in a future episode. Anyway, the Black Dahlia. Who was she? Her name was Elizabeth Short, and she was born on July 29, 1924, and she passed away in January 14th to 15th, 1947. Elizabeth Short, she was from Boston, and she had relocated to California. Her father lived in California, and it is believed that she was an aspiring actress. However, there has been
Sorry, if I'm not mistaken, because I have not read something about these guys in a very long time, but if I'm not mistaken, she was not in good terms with her father, was she?
I cannot remember.
I think so.
I think her father, yes, but she was in good terms on good terms with her mother, maybe, but
Something like that, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think she went there to kind of like reconnect with him or something along
I
those lines.
think so.
Yeah.
Yes. So
This is tragic.
yes, it's such a tragic case, and
imagine so
hey
many.
everyone.
Really. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yes, so it was believed, to be. She was believed to be an inspiring actress, and I mean, in Los Angeles at the time, who wasn't?
Of course. She
yes,
was very beautiful,
the dream.
by the way.
Yes,
Such a gorgeous girl. Yeah.
Truly, and her beauty was distinct. Yes. Anyway, however, there have been no known acting jobs or credits. When it comes
She has or not?
to her no none when it comes to her time living in Los Angeles, so we don't know that for sure. And the nickname Black Dahlia was given to her by newspapers, as they would often do at the time with
so Dahlia is a
such
flower, is it not?
cases.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think so, yeah.
such a tragic case.
Why did they call her that? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm not
There
sure.
was a
I
reason.
think it had maybe it had something to do with the color of her hair and the contrast of her
skin
when she was found.
But I think that's why I ask you if it's a flower, because I think the dahlia is a flower.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's
so.
Yeah. Anyway,
it had something to do.
Because they usually
it was something relevant.
Yeah,
they take the inspiration from something that is unique to the case and or the victim or the offender, because they name those as well.
By the way, I believe that it's okay. First of all, we wish that we did not have to, people did not have to name cases like this, because this would mean that there would be no cases like this, aka no victims, no lives taken too quickly and without any reason. But I think that it's more respectful. When such cases are named after the victims, as in the form of respect to the victims and their memory, rather than when we,
that's what I was going to say.
People give nicknames
to the offenders, because it's
sense,
part of their narcissism.
Ego. Exactly.
Feeding their ego.
Exactly.
And that some of them, they want to make history in the worst way possible.
Yeah, we should be belittling them.
Yes, exactly. Not idolizing them or whatever.
Not glorifying them in a way.
Yes.
By naming cases, or
sometimes they do so. Reporters or even detectives. Anyway, yes. So Elizabeth Short, she was found unalived in the Leimert Park in that neighborhood, part of Los Angeles, California. And her body was found naked and severed into 2 pieces. That's why I said this case is similar to the case you talked about. And also, it was drained of any red stuff that we have inside of our body. Yes, and as a result,
I know.
The body was pale white. You can imagine.
There are some very famous words, I think, from the lady that saw the body.
Oh yes, because
she said that in the beginning I thought that it was a mannequin.
A mannequin.
Exactly, because she was so pale.
Yes, I didn't. I read this somewhere. I think it was a lady who discovered and
The
was
child.
taken. Yes, the
Imagine.
child for a walk, or it was in a trolley.
Traumatized for life.
Yes. Thankfully, until she realized it was not too late. Yes. So, medical examiners estimated that her time of death was actually around or about 10 hours prior
Okay.
to when
she
her
was
body was discovered.
she was immediately disposed of.
Yes.
Monsters.
So they suspected,
Monsters.
yes, that it was either, it happened either early in the morning of January the 15th or in the evening of January the 14th. That's why I said we don't know exactly her time
So
of
the window,
passing.
the window of the time, like the time window would be, for
Yes.
example, maximum 10 hours or minimum 10
10
hours.
hours,
10 hours. Yeah.
prior, but the time of, her passing away.
I am not too familiar with how the coroners actually define the time. I am not really familiar with that, but they
I think
knew
it has to
something.
do with the temperature of the body
Okay.
or something like that,
Yeah.
and the other, of
and
course,
when the body, when the
indicators.
natural, thing occurs,
Yes,
I think
exactly.
they test some small disgusting animals, and they
Yes,
can determine. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
they
very
can-
sorry. I know that. I'm sorry.
That's why we said in the beginning there will be some graphic description. So if you want, you can always click away at any point and take care of yourself, of course, first and foremost. And the body seemed to be cleaned by whoever committed
Suspicious.
this.
Very
Yes,
suspicious.
Yes, and this is important for later on,
Very
the cleaning of
suspicious,
the body. And now, like you said before, we're talking about her face, and her the upper part of the body, her head. On her face, she had cuts from one corner, the
Chelsea style.
corners of exactly of her mouth to her ears, and what is commonly known as the Glasgow smile. Quote,
Glasgow,
Glasgow
not Chelsea.
smile.
Okay.
Yes, that's how they name it. And also there were several cuts at her thigh, her breasts, and there were also entire portions of her flesh that had been sliced away. I'm sorry about the graphic description, guys.
I'm sorry,
Again,
okay, but as someone who has obviously not seen the photos, because I believe that the photos are available, or some of them, right, for to the general public. I have not watched them, but as
Neither have I.
As you describe this, unfortunately, I make this picture in my head.
Yes, because both Joe and I are
Artists, so
visionary people, both
And to
literally and
me-
figuratively.
to someone who has nothing to do with the police, or I don't know, with autopsies and such, such, or like medicine.
Those are the interesting parts.
But this sounds to
in
me,
helping to
the
solve.
way that you
the
described
case.
it and the way that I have pictured, her body in my mind, it seems very sexual to me.
Yes,
like very personal to me, like the attack.
There have you will see. I will talk about some of these things in a while. Now, the lower half of the body, it was found further away. Yes, because it
Like
was
a
found in two
magician,
pieces.
like-
Yes,
yeah,
and,
magician girl.
It was
Yeah.
yes,
The
exactly.
assistant, yeah.
Yes, it was found a bit further away, like a foot away from the upper part of the body. Yes, those are some facts. Anyway, and now another similarity. A bit of a similarity to what you mentioned in your case. Her intestines had been strategically placed underneath her behind, removed and strategically placed.
I have mentioned in previous episodes that I thought of studying psychology. Okay, unfortunately, I did not, because I changed my mind which was wrong.
Me
but
too.
I have been reading about psychology ever since. When I hear something like that, for example, when it comes to both the cases of Jack the Ripper or this one, I do not understand why the mania, why the amok with the insides. Like, if somebody did that, let's say, and they stole internal organs to be sold, in the black market.
In the black market.
I could, in quotations, understand that.
Yes.
But as in the form of, I don't know, like an urge or something they, somebody gets off from. I do not know why. Like, I do not understand it. My brain does not.
It goes back to what we said. How can you understand how those people's brain works?
I don't know. Like, it's so.
And why should we?
No, we should not. Absolutely,
yes,
but it's
I know it helps in solving those
exactly.
cases,
I'm
but
trying to understand, like,
yes,
what
why
was
on earth
the
would you do?
thought process,
Yes.
if any, behind this thing, or if it's just someone who has seen red and they have gone completely mad and completely animalistic, and they do that. But you mentioned that, for example, in the Jack the Ripper case, the insides, they were not arranged. They were left in a chaos. But this one, you said they were arranged, like strategically placed.
Yes.
So there must have been some thought process behind that, which I do not understand. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, honestly, what is wrong with you to take another life to begin with?
I really don't know, and I cannot understand.
But to plan all of this, and I don't understand. Like, really, I cannot.
Yes, there was also some posing. There seemed to be some posing of the body. That was another interesting fact. Like, her hands were placed over her head, and her elbows were bent. And
so like this.
Yes.
Okay.
And her legs were
for those who are only listening. I just
placed
put my
the hand over her head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And her legs were
Was she
spread
bound?
apart.
Was she bound, like,
there have been
physically?
some indications. You'll see in the autopsy report of
imagine
something.
like this position of the hands.
We don't know. And detectives found a heel print near Elizabeth Sword's body. And there was also a cement sack which contained watery red stuff. That stayed with me. Like, okay. Yes. And then we are moving to the autopsy part, and identification of the victim. The autopsy was performed by...
So by that time, nobody knew who she was.
No.
She was identified after
late
the
after,
autopsy.
yes.
Which makes sense, of course.
Yes. The autopsy was performed by the coroner Frederick Newbar. Apologies for mispronouncing the names. And on the 16th of January 1947, and the coroner was by the Los Angeles County. And some characteristics, and Elizabeth Sword had light blue eyes. Like you said, she was a very beautiful brown hair and badly decayed teeth. Again, we don't know why was that. Was it because of the after her passing? I did understand that while I read it, or was it because she was not able to afford
exactly as we said, for example,
teeth hygiene
in the previous
yes, that's
case,
why I'm saying there
unfortunately poor people.
Yes.
Most of them, I mean, honestly, it was...
I didn't understand this part, why it was
at that time,
like that.
If you were poor and you went to the dentist or the doctor and you say, like, I have a toothache, they would seriously just remove the tooth.
Yes. Those were
no
different
anesthesia,
times.
nothing like...
Yes.
Yeah.
And the autopsy revealed that there were marks on her wrists, because you asked.
See?
Her ankles and...
Because when you mentioned the position of the arms, like the way she was posed, if you okay, to all my nerds out there, okay, who have played Bloodborne, DLC, Fishing Hamlet, the body that is upside down, hanging upside down, which is practically the rune of the hunter. That's exactly what I think of. Like, that's exactly the position that I think of. When you said she was posed this way, immediately, that's why I asked, was she bound?
Yes. So,
yeah,
it appears to be that she was at some point. And there were also lacerations on her her forearm, left upper arm, and lower side of her chest. And there was an, quote, irregular...
lower side of her chest, so meaning over the ribs. Like here.
Yes, I think so. And there was an, quote, irregular laceration with superficial tissue loss, end quote, on her right breast. So these are technical terms, I believe, for, the autopsy reports and...
brutal.
Yes.
So many cases. Like, the poor woman, like the poor girl, she must have been in so much pain.
Yes, and agony before, passing away.
We don't know if they were made, like, pre or post-mortem. Like,
maybe there's some... you will see.
I hope that they were post, so that she did not have to suffer more than she unfortunately did.
Yes. And like we mentioned, the body was cut in half. And that was something I did not know, and I was shocked to read that the technique used was one used in the 1930s called a hemicorporectomy, which means, I can imagine by the Greek definition, yes, cutting the body in half, half and half. Yes, I did not know that while I was researching.
That's exactly what I meant when I mean, again, in my head, how you described it, that's why I said, like magician's assistant, like the trick
exactly.
when they put the lady, in the...
That was...
in the box, and then they cut...
Yes.
They cut, they cut her in half. That's what I meant. Jesus Christ.
Sadly. And more lacerations were found on her body. And even though the skull was not fractured, there was bruising on the front and right side of her scalp. There was also a small amount of bleeding, suggesting blows to the head. And
I know it will sound very weird by while I say this, but I hope that this was the cause of unaliving.
Yes.
So that she did not have to suffer all the traumas later on.
No.
Honestly.
I think that's some of the, if I'm not mistaken, I remember reading that some of these bruises were post. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
The cranial.
But I'm not sure. I remember reading somewhere. I didn't write it down. I'm not the best at researching, but I'm doing my best. Anyway, and the official code
takes a lot of time.
Yes,
it takes a lot of time. Sorry, forgot I have a microphone.
And the cause of passing away. It was hemorrhaging from the lacerations to her face and the shock from the blows to the head and face. So, like you said, that was the cause of...
Yeah, but hemorrhaging, it means that she must have been alive for a long time. Oh my God, which actually means that it means that she felt
She
everything.
suffered, yes. Really, really sad. And
I know that these cases, I know that these cases are so odd, and I think, as you said, like we're walking almost towards a century from this one as well. But, it does not matter. It makes me so angry because I put myself in the shoes of the victims and all of those who loved them. And why? Why are these people still alive? I mean... Probably they're not alive. I mean, obviously, the torso offender is obviously not alive unless he's a vampire or something. But this one potentially no. But why?
Yes.
Why did these people, these monsters, they're not people, these monsters had the opportunity to live longer than their victims? I mean, I'm sorry, but why?
Yes, and who are you to decide to end
you have no
a life?
Right. Yeah,
yes,
no, you have no right. It makes me so angry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be
Yes,
diplomatic,
same
but
here.
I cannot be diplomatic when it comes to stuff like that.
And it's really, that's why I always say with these cases, when you're watching the news and we hear of these cases, and in today's world as well, and the one that we will be talking about next week, we are so angry. And I always say that I don't think I could ever be part of the jury, because it is such a difficult place to be, because how can you not be angry?
Exactly. How can you
We are
remain?
human.
How can you remain objective?
Exactly. And how can you be 100% sure that you're not wasting another person's life, that it's
In
the
vain.
right...
Exactly.
Yes, that it's the right offender.
Then don't
What
you
if
feel
you made a mistake?
exactly?
Because we are human, again.
If you convict someone who is not the actual perpetrator,
Yes.
and you convict them by mistake, and you, no matter if it's for 2 years or
It's
a
like you're-
life sentence,
Yes, you're
okay,
wasting...
you're no better than the actual
Yeah,
offender.
actually, yes. And we have seen cases like that.
It's really difficult.
In a modern
Absolutely,
day. So
absolutely.
it's so sad. And yes, and another interesting fact for me, that got my attention: no male DNA was found on her body.
But you said that she was cleaned. That's why.
So maybe, yes.
Because
And her fingerprints were...
that sounds, again, I'm not sexist, absolutely not, but that sounds like something that physically, even if it's just physically, somebody stronger than Elizabeth, did
Yes.
that to her. So I don't know.
But you will see. Her fingerprints were sent to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and that's how Elizabeth Short was identified, due to a file from an arrest in 1943, if I'm not mistaken.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that she was very
43.
unfortunate throughout her life, and that she
Yes,
made
she
very
had a sad story.
decisions when it comes to men.
Men,
in her
yes,
life.
that's what some of your friends claimed, that she was dating, and she was not the best at
people.
picking.
No,
Yes,
not her. I mean,
yes, she was not the
men.
best at picking,
She was,
the right
Partners.
people. Yes, and partners.
Love partner.
So the investigation part now,
Yeah, go on.
because we have some interesting.
This video is already long, by the
cases.
way.
Is already?
Long, by the way.
Yes,
So
see?
imagine, I think that
If
we
we
made
talked
the
about
right
the other
decision.
yes, case. So on January 21st of 1947, I assume, yes,
Yeah, you said 1947.
a person claiming to be Elizabeth Short's, placed a phone call to the editor of the Examiner, who was James Richardson at the
Letter.
time. Yes,
A letter.
a call.
A call. Okay. Oh, modern Jack the Ripper from her
Yes,
letter.
and the caller.
See, again.
Yes,
Pattern.
after the caller told him to expect. Excuse me, I cannot even read my own handwriting.
Happens to me. That's why I printed
It's
my
so
notes.
bad, I cannot even read it.
It's okay.
Okay, so the caller told him to, quote, expect some souvenirs of Beth Sort in the mail, end quote. And 3 days later, an envelope was discovered. It was addressed to, quote, the Los Angeles Examiner and other Los Angeles papers, end quote.
Again, this reminds me of the so-called, we do not know that if he was actually the proper offender, like Jack the Ripper, but the same, the from
Yes.
her, like infamous from her letter,
Yes.
and then the Sir letter.
And then the one that...
Yeah.
uh,
We have to talk about Jack the Ripper at some
Yes.
point, but this needs months of research and
weeks at least.
months because we have the suspect,
Yes, and
this
so
will
many
be like a mini-series,
books have been published.
you know, for sure.
So many publications, yes. And yes, inside the envelope, there were Elizabeth Sword's birth certificate, business cards, photographs, and names written on pieces of paper, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen on the cover.
So they were
And
not
then
lying, actually.
There was some, yes. So
there was some connection there. Because, okay.
that's what
Yeah.
was
Interesting.
suspected by the police. And investigators, the police, suspected that the packet had been sent by the person who actually committed this horrific act. Yes. And since it had been cleaned with gasoline, just like the body of Elizabeth Sword had.
So definite connection.
That's
there.
why I said the cleaning
Same,
part.
yeah.
The cleaning of the body.
Exactly the same
Yes.
as the body, yeah.
That's
So-
why I mentioned that it will be coming later on, and it
Or
will play
at
an important
least-
role.
Or at least it was someone, because I don't know if you will mention that, but there have been speculations that the offender, when it comes to this case, Black Dahlia case, it was not only one person, but it was a group of people.
Yes, I will mention some
Yeah.
of the suspects that have been named throughout the years. Named.
So
Have been
potentially
mentioned. Yes, potential
it's one
suspects.
of, each member of this group, let's say, they had a specific role to play when it came to...
I don't know. We shall see. They tried to collect some partial fingerprints, but those were compromised in transit and could not be analyzed properly.
Of course.
They were said they
Gasoline
were sent
will
to the
destroy
FBI.
many things.
Yes. They were sent to the FBI for testing. And on the same day the examiner received on the same day the examiner received the packet, a handbag and a black sweatsuit were reportedly seen on top of a garbage can in an alley 2 miles, which is about 3 kilometers from the crime scene. But those were cleaned with gasoline as well, and therefore no fingerprints were collected because they had been destroyed.
And these were Elizabeth's.
I don't know.
But I mean, to be connected to this.
Yes, I think
case,
that
I
they were
suppose so, yeah.
they were Elizabeth or suspected to be hers. Yes,
It
and
must have been, since they were clean too. It must have been,
Yes.
because it's the same thing. It's the same name. Or
Mm.
M-O. Do you know
Yes.
what that was English, please?
And people deemed Mark Hansen a suspect. He was a
The
wealthy.
address.
Yes, the name found on the address book. And he was a wealthy local nightclub and theater owner. So Elizabeth had some connection to him.
So the address book that they sent in with the letter was Elizabeth's address book.
Yes, that's why
Okay, so they were basically
the caller said
framing-
you will receive some of Beth's.
Yeah, so
below
practically they were
King's.
framing this Hansen guy by putting his name.
Or
by saying,
they were
like, he
misleading the
Yeah,
investigators.
that's what I mean.
Yes,
Yeah.
one way or another.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Maybe that framing was not
So being
the
like,
actual.
"Oh, I'm being the good Samaritan, and
Yes.
I'm giving you a clue that
Maybe.
Hansen is the guy that you want," which obviously,
Yes.
or probably, we do not
Would
know.
not.
Probably it was not.
But
Maybe it's just like
Elizabeth had a connection to him. There have been. He has been an acquaintance of hers, and she had stayed at his home with some friends at some point. So,
Okay.
like you said, probably he was an easy target to
Yeah.
frame.
especially
Or
if the offender actually knew that she had stayed.
yes, maybe
Yeah,
she
in
had a
his
stalker
place,
or something.
in
Yes,
this Hansen's guy.
or maybe there was a
place.
friend that we don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, many investigators from both the LAPD and other departments worked on the Black Dahlia case during its initial stages, and various locations were searched for potential evidence. There was also a reward for information, but police dismissed most people coming forward with confessions, and even some of them were even charged.
Another thing I do not understand
Yes.
When people, I mean, some of them, they're obviously wrong in the mind, and they want to get, as you mentioned earlier, they want to get some of the
Infamy, yes,
of
of
the
all.
notoriety. But
Yes, some of them, they were even charged for obstruction of justice due to the false confessions they made to the police. And
these are
that's
something time and resources.
That's another offense on its own.
When when the police actually has to put resources, spend resources on leads that are actually fake or not existent. Okay, yeah,
yes.
This costs the government money, so of course they would be arrested for that. Yeah, I understand that, legally speaking.
And now some suspects and some names that you mentioned you would like to know. Throughout the years, suspects have remained under discussion, and various authors and experts have proposed a few. Among those, a doctor named Walter Bailey, proposed by former
very
Times.
famous one.
No, I will tell you. I will tell you.
People speculate.
Proposed. This one was proposed by former Times copy editor Larry Harness. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of the names. Mark Hansen.
For obvious reasons.
Yes,
yeah.
And Francis A. Sweeney.
That's the one.
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles?
Yes, I don't know.
The famous one?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a different. I thought of the same thing. It's a different spelling of the name, and
Could you imagine?
Patrick S. O'Reilly and others. And which one? I wanted to talk about. The other one you're mentioning. There was later on.
Many people. That's a very popular suspect.
Yes,
actually,
another suspect.
To admit that I might. I
Yes,
do believe that to an
that's-
extent. I mean,
Yes, I'm suspicious of him a bit as well.
oh, definitely.
And
But-
especially if you watch documentaries talking about this case, and
Yeah.
they
There's
provide
something
more
wrong
information.
with his son. That's
why.
that's what
Yes, that's what I'm
throwing me off.
I'm
Otherwise,
about to
it
say.
fits. Yeah.
Another suspect that was never formally charged is George Hodel.
Yeah.
His son, Steve Hodel, a homicide detective by LAPD, accused his father of Sword's death, Elizabeth Sword's death. And George Hodel was also, quote, suspected but not charged. No quote. He was suspected but not charged for, a death of his secretary, Ruth Spaulding.
Yes.
And he fled the country and lived for some years in the Philippines.
Suspicious. I mean, come on. Even if he has nothing to do with either the unalivings of these two ladies,
Yes.
why don't you have a practice back home? Like,
He lived there for years.
yeah, I know.
In the Philippines.
Don't you have, patience that you have to,
And I think,
see again and again?
yes.
I don't know.
And Steve Hodel, his son, had mentioned his father's surgical training as circumstantial evidence. Because just like, yes, Jack the Ripper and
The torso,
case,
yeah.
yes, you mentioned, they suspected there may have been somewhat knowledge of
Anatomical,
yes.
yeah.
And yes.
Again, yes. I mean, okay, I'm again very sorry, very graphic description what I'm going to say, but for example, of course, even in this case, because you said that the body was actually cut in half, so
With a specific technique.
exactly. So I can imagine.
Hemirectomy.
Yeah, but I can
What was
imagine
the
that
name?
when you say specific technique and anatomical knowledge must have been used, or at least needed, I imagine that the incisions were clean, and perfect. So yes, not just anybody can do that.
Hemicorporectomy.
Yeah, but
Yes.
not just anybody can do that.
and
Just like in the
cleaned,
torso.
yes, like
case.
surgical.
Yeah,
Yes, like and
a simple person, a simple, person cannot just do that because they have the urge to do that. It would be botched.
yes,
Yeah. So definitely.
it would not be as
Clean.
Clean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely, I agree. For the torso
That-
case.
Of
as well.
course. And there have been some theories and potential connections or links to other crimes during those times.
Connected to the guy, the doctor.
To this case, the Black Dahlia case, and like
Many.
it was with Jack the Killer and Jack the Ripper. Excuse me, we are already. He was, but we are already getting tired. I'm sorry. Yes, so some crime authors and police detectives and Peter Maybelow have suspected a link between the Elizabeth Sword red drum and the Cleveland Torso red drums.
Oh.
Those took place in Cleveland, Ohio between 1934 and 1938. So you can see the similarity again with the cases you mentioned. The
Yes,
one,
and if you think about
sorry.
it, so somebody who was it the one? Because I don't remember if it was if it was about Jack the Ripper or this specific offender that I mentioned earlier today. But they had speculated, I think it was Jack the Ripper, that Jack the Ripper actually left the UK.
Yes, and moved to the US.
But even if that was not the same guy, who says that this guy with the Ohio torso red rams, who said that he was not inspired by these guys that I mentioned earlier, because it was not too long apart, like 40 years.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so somebody could have been alive or read about that.
Yes. And another one was the lipstick red drums.
I have heard about that.
Other crime authors, such as Steve Hodel, have suggested a link between this red drum and the one in 1946, where Suzanne Denyan, that's tragic, a 6-year-old was found unalived, unalived and dismembered in Chicago, Illinois. That was a tragic one. That was so hard to read. Even, just mentioning the connection, the possible connection.
These cases, I know that I'm huffing and puffing, but it's like, I don't do that on purpose. It's not faked. These things, these cases, and hats off to all the people who do this kind of content.
Yes, truly.
Hats off, because the research, trying to present something one way and making it again less brutal, okay, but actually researching and reading possibly the coroner's report and stuff like that, which can be extremely brutal. It's really, really heavy. So yeah, I don't want to hear anything when it comes to that about children. I mean,
no. Those are the hardest ones for me.
Or animals.
Yes. No, children and animals, no.
No.
But every case is so tragic.
Of course. But I mean...
That's why during this episode...
This will affect me the most.
Yes. During this episode we have note in the stomach. My stomach is in notes.
That's why I'm doing this all the time. I'm not hungry. My stomach is not rumbling.
The heaviest one.
Yeah.
Yes, the heaviest one so far. And one last case I would like to mention. The Lone Woman Red Drums. Those took place between 1943 and 1949, and there were over a dozen unsolved red drums in LA, and the victims were young women that had been sexually mutilated.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So you can see the link, the possible link there. Those were the 3 cases that people speculated maybe there was a connection there, maybe it was the same offender.
Do you know if they, because I guess that in order for people to make connections, just like the torso red rams with the Jack the Ripper, did they overlap, or was it like pretty close?
It was close, 1934 to 1938, the Cleveland torso red drums.
So
and then the other
10 years apart.
Yes, the other one 1946, if I'm not mistaken. Where is the
less
date?
than 10 years
1946.
Apart. So,
and then 1943 to 1949, just
absolutely. So they were all possible.
Yes,
the
in
same
the same
offender.
timeline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why they said that maybe there was a connection. But this was this was the case of the Black Dahlia, Elizabeth sword, and it is one that it has been in culture. How do you say it? Yes, it has been one that has pop culture. Yes, but
sad, very sad.
Yes,
culture,
and it has gained attention and still remains unsolved, and there are still discussions going on it. So sad, such a young lady losing her life and in such a tragic way, and we are so sorry for all of the victims that we mentioned today, and the families they left behind. Yes, because
that was very, very heavy. Okay.
Yes.
But well, I don't know what to say. I do not know how to.
End of this, and we have another one coming next week. Another sad, very sad and tragic case, and it's a question of how
affected us both.
Yes,
very much.
And we are looking through the developments throughout the years on that one.
It was like
4 years ago. 3.5 years
but there are always, all the time there are updates about this case,
and we're keeping an eye on
because
those updates.
We would like for every person that has passed away tragically, actually, who has had their life stolen from them, and every family member or loved one of these people, we wish that they all had found the justice that they all deserve.
And if not, then some healing.
Closure,
yes, and it's an unimaginable pain, and I can never imagine what it is like to be in their shoes, and no one.
See, that's
would
the thing,
want
we lose people that we love by natural
causes,
or
exactly.
something that cannot be prevented, and we hurt so much. So imagine, actually don't. Because we wish that nobody had to feel this.
No. And nobody should, just because that's
but for a crazy person, to just come and steal away for no reasons and without any right the life.
And sometimes without any justification, and that's why you're wondering with this case. I always wonder, how is it possible that such monsters walk among us? I mean, can you imagine? Yes, can you imagine, like, the neighbor you're saying good morning to? You never know, or someone you work with, or especially someone you dated.
If they're psychopathic,
yes, you never know that.
You can never tell. Yeah.
Yes, because those offenders, before they commit the horrible acts. Yes. Can you imagine? There were, people, just like everyday people, just like you and I, seemingly. So, can you imagine? And then you hear the news of what they have done. I don't know. I'm terrified. Anyway.
Same. So
we will see you next week.
Yeah. Hopefully. We hope that you found this interesting, informative, educational in any way, shape or form.
Yes, and
so please do let us know in the comments if you would like to see any more of this kind of videos from us.
Yes, so we'll see you next week for
part 2, let's say, not really,
from another case. Yes, and we have to say, of course, stay kind,
stay spooky,
but stay safe out there.
Honestly.
Yes, and
we're sending you our love.
Yes, and give your loved ones a hug and tell them how much you love them.
Now I'm gonna go hug my sister.
Yes, and we're probably going to watch some cartoons.
Yes, definitely.
to
Frozen.
Heavyweight. Yes.
Frozen. Disney's Frozen.
I am Anna. She's Elsa.
Yes, maybe we can do an episode on Disney princesses.
Yeah.
It will take away the heaviness of
True.
today's episode.
Okay.
We will see you in the next one, guys. Thank you for staying with us.
We love you. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.